I'm your host, Mimi Kalinda. Please do join the conversation by sending your questions and comments on Twitter at Africa Biz Radio. And you can tag me at mkalinda, hashtag Talking to Africa.
Africa Business Radio, your one-stop resource platform for all things business news, economy, leadership, productivity, investment, and more. ABR, towards a profitable Africa. My way, unique insight into doing business in Africa. Investment opportunity. Industry updates. Africa Business Radio, towards a profitable Africa.
Leadership, business, education, and good governance. What would it take to build a better Africa? Join us on The Agenda on Africa Business Radio, Wednesday, 5 p.m. Central African Time. As we discuss these pillars for building a successful Africa. Africa Business Radio, towards a profitable Africa.
The prosperity of your venture into Africa is our goal. We are committed to the success of every business in Africa. ABR, towards a profitable Africa.
It is Breakfast Connect on Africa Business Radio. We'll enjoy the next 90 minutes together right here on Africa Business Radio. Let's stay engaged with us. Africa Business Radio on Twitter, Africa Business Radio on Facebook, as well as LinkedIn.
Tune in to Africa Business Radio on www.africabusinessradio.com. Find us on Facebook, Africa Business Radio, and on Twitter at Africa Biz Radio, towards a profitable Africa.
Welcome back to you if you're listening wherever you are, we may be in the world. We are at the South African Portuguese Chamber of Commerce, Standard Bank Business Excellence Awards, the 5th edition, and I'm not rolling solo. I'm with Mudzite this evening. Z, who's my colleague from ABR, and before us is sitting Roy and Tony. They call themselves the psychology of law, the law of psychology.
The law of psychology. Tony's a psychologist and Roy is a lawyer.
Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us and welcome to Africa Business Radio.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, we are delighted to be here, first of all, to be able to broadcast the show to the rest of the world, not the show but the event to the rest of the world, so that the rest of the world can understand what is going on this evening. And we've already spoken about what the SAPCC is all about, and particularly this event. But tonight, with you gentlemen, we want to talk particularly about the categories. So maybe I can just speak to Tony just to take us through that. I know that Fernando had said Roy is going to talk to us about that, but let me start with the serious one first. Tony, then we'll move through to Roy.
Yes, you wanting to know about the
categories.
Yeah,
the 7 categories. So can you take us through the categories?
Yeah. Well, there are actually 8, but the first category is for the outstanding professional, which is about picking the best or recognizing a professional who's made an outstanding contribution in the Portuguese community. Mm-hmm. The second category is the Small Business Award, which is for businesses which have 50 or less employees. And following on from that would be the Large Business Award, which is businesses with more than 50 employees. Then we have the Franchisor of the Year, and we have within our ranks a number of franchises, and we wish to recognize the best franchisor. Then we have the Business Person of the Year Award, and perhaps I can ask Rui to talk a bit about the thinking behind the Business Person of the Year Award.
Yes.
So what we distinguished this year, let's take a step back. So last year we awarded 3, we had 3 categories. This year we've expanded the awards from 3 to 8.
So it's definitely going to be a very long event this year then.
Look, you have to spread the fun, you know.
Yes,
sharing is caring. So with what we wanted to
the Business
create,
Person of the Year,
what we wanted to create a place for is people who are employed for big corporates who have a leadership position but not a shareholding position. That's what distinguishes between Entrepreneur of the Year and Business Person of the Year.
Okay.
So if you take someone who's in a high position, in whether it's one of the banks or the big corporates, who shows incredible leadership skills, that's what we sought to reward in this and showcase in this category.
Okay. You also have a very special award tonight, the Nelson Mandela Tribute Award. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, at the end of the day, we are a South African chamber, and we could not, I repeat, we could not go without honouring Madiba on this, the centenary month. Obviously, he would have been 100 had he been alive on the 18th of July, and we thought we wanted to honour him. And you know, the bottom line is, a point that which I often make is that while we are honouring Portuguese businesses, it's very important that our Portuguese community, and to convey that our Portuguese community is very involved in the South African community. It's not a community that just isolates itself. And what we wanted to do is be able to, again, showcase that commitment to community, and that's where we've rewarded this evening.
Okay. So tell us about the nomination process. How do you nominate and eventually come up with the winners of the awards?
So this year we kind of just took last year's rules and we threw them away. Okay, and we decided to simplify the process completely. So what we did is simplified it to a one page. So who's nominating, who are you nominating, and why? And you need to say what is special about your business. We then, as the awards subcommittee, what we did is then we did the homework. So we went through and we dug further. And we created then the categories so that we would ultimately, through this process, get the best 8 representations. So I know it seems a little bit strange in terms of a process, but that way we could ensure that we got the best possible candidates as winners. And I'll explain why. For example, if you're unlucky, you can imagine Usain Bolt racing the same race as Carl Lewis or something, if they were in the same age group. It's just pity that you'd have that Carl Lewis would be in second place, but in any other year he would win. Well, we have those instances where we have such fantastic candidates in one category, and it's difficult then to make that choice. This way, we have made place for everybody. We can then showcase excellence and be able to showcase the best of.
Okay. And then what kind of impact have the awards had? I mean, if you're in your 5th year now and it's much bigger than it's ever been, what impact is it having on the business community that keeps bringing back people to the awards?
Well, I think that it creates a brand of its own. So obviously we've had a very strong relationship with Standard Bank, who have been incredible in this process in terms of supporting us through these awards. And the idea is that every year it's grown because of that. So the event is aspirational, the awards become aspirational. And what we're hoping then is that to attract in the second generation, and we're creating then a body of role models in terms of this excellence, and hoping then to build that for the next generation in terms of people that are able to follow these examples.
Speaking about your sponsors, tell us about your other sponsors. It's not just Standard Bank.
So our headline sponsor is Standard Bank, and then the further sponsorships are Billiam Bakery, AMT Placements, Black Rhino Reserve,
Nando's. I saw Nando's is there.
I don't have that list in front of me.
We'll share the list of sponsors later on in the show. You also have a guest speaker, Thokozani Twala.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about him before we bring him on.
So Thokozani, he was together with Rui Fregoso at the Gauteng Development Agency, and we had a very, very strong relationship and continue to have a very strong relationship with both the agency and with them. And they've been huge supporters of the Chamber. And don't forget that their role was to support companies investing in South Africa. So in terms of the Portuguese companies that were coming through, they played a vital role in being able to support that together with the Chamber. And they continue to be friends of the Chamber. Both have now since left the GDDA and have joined their own company called Growth Map, of which Thokozani is the CEO, and he'll come and perhaps chat about that. And it was vital to bring him on board because he knows so much about Portuguese companies investing in this country, and wanted him to come and chat about that this evening. Okay,
fantastic. Before we let you go, what can our listeners expect, bearing in mind that most of our listeners are entrepreneurs across the continent? Maybe what is it that you would like them to get out of this award?
Well, I think that awards ultimately about storytelling, where you recognize excellence. And for me, what I get the biggest kick of is to hear those stories. Last year's winner from ACDC, he described how he started in his garage. So he started an electronics business. Again, I repeat, electronics business in his garage, and he used to cook the electronics in his oven.
Wow.
Today, it's a multi-million rand operation with franchises and. Now, we sometimes think that the people who are successful are born with it, or because they have some sort of superpower that they come out of their mom's wombs with a cake. That's not the case, and it's just really hard work. It starts with an idea, and when we hear these stories, it then inspires us, and I think that's what is, for me, is the biggest kick
takeout from this evening. Definitely well said. The biggest takeout from this evening is listening to stories of people who've made it, who've actually built businesses that are successful. So I'm sure a lot of our listeners are going to be inspired from the stories that we're going to hear tonight. We're going to take a short little break, and then when we come back, we're going to be speaking to Thokozani Twala, who is the guest speaker for tonight's award ceremony.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Roy.
Thank you so much.
7 continents, 195 countries, and 7 billion people, all connected by technology. DigiBiz Africa is your link to technology news, trends, developments, and digital innovation. We expose you to game changers and disruptors, role players and pioneers come together right here on Africa Business Radio every Thursday at 2 p.m. Central African Time. We were once strangers, now neighbors. Once secluded, now included. Once divided, now enlightened. We are one, a connected world. Africa Business Radio towards a profitable Africa.